always like to play with fire.
It's time for the losers match. We're going to find out who will be eliminated first here tonight in Group B. It's Hurricane versus Scarlett. I will say, Scarlett looked a lot better than Hurricane in the match that she lost. Hurricane had a very sloppy series versus Ryung. I don't feel, at least so far, that Hurricane is able to streamline what he can do on ladder and in practice into a match that is where everything matters. Whereas Scarlett seems to be able to do things like get a lead against Innovation and then throw.
Yeah.
So
that's a good way to put it, I think.
You know, as long as Scarlett can maintain the huge edge that she is getting and keep it, I don't think there's anybody that she can lose to.
And these matches weren't against their opponents' races, but just to pull from the qualifiers.
Sure.
For instance, Hurricane beat Neeb twice to be here, 2-1 in PvP.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very impressive. Neeb is a great PvPer. Scarlett killed Zest to get here. Zest, the best Protoss. Well, maybe not exactly the best Protoss right now, but certainly the highest ranked Protoss on the
Certainly
ladder.
the handsomest.
Oh, easily.
Easily.
Next to Neeb. But,
that's true, yeah.
I mean, you know, she is a killer in all matchups, and this one's a hard one for Protoss right now.
Let's see what happens. Game number 1 will be on the map, Newkirk Precinct.
You can ride, you can fly, you can tell them that you tried, but there ain't no going back. They'll never catch me.
In the bottom left, in the blue, from Canada, she is
Team Expert, Scarlett.
And in the bottom right, in the red, our Protoss player, he is
Hurricane.
So, I'm super interested to see what Hurricane does, because he is someone who helps to innovate Protoss a little bit. From time to time, he will throw
he's pushing
something
the
out
limits for sure.
Yeah, like he'll come in with a different approach sometimes, and I think we'll probably see something slightly different from him today than what has been kind of standard for Protoss lately, because the standard for Protoss lately has just been having a bit of a hard time against Hydra Bane. So he needs to do that.
Yeah, this is a little bit tricky because, you know, Protoss, you know, PvZ is a matchup that's always gone through changes in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
But it seems like Zerg has all the tools necessary before the Protoss does in this current iteration of StarCraft 2. There's a moment where Zerg has the killing blow set up, and Protoss is just not quite ready yet. And so Protosses have tried some things like doing crazy timing attacks or hiding tech or doing anything.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, speaking of which.
It definitely is.
That is not an AWOL probe, guys. This is not probe mutiny up there. That's going to be used for something. But Protoss will try to do something to basically cripple the Zerg early on, or just allow the Protoss to get ahead based off the Protoss's finesse and maybe the Zerg's lack of control. But the problem is when you get against really good Zergs like Scarlet or Sue, you know, in this matchup, they pretty much don't let you get them behind.
Yeah. Well, this is one way you can do it. This is either going to be Dark Templars or a bunch of gateways up there. Like, that's the only stuff you would really do with this probe, unless it's just waiting there to go over at a later time to make a proxy pylon. It's the only other thing I can think for that, which it could be at this point because still, I mean, not starting a pylon yet, so that's kind of interesting. But seeing a sentry made this early really makes you think that this could end up being a timing attack, a very early one.
I think so.
We normally don't see sentries this early in PvZ.
There is a pylon, by the way, in the very upper right corner of the map being made here. But you have to keep in mind that sometimes, even if the Zergs don't see that pylon up there, what they do see over here in the natural, or lack thereof, can tip the hand. That can give away the build in of itself. If you're a Zerg player with really good instinct, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Scarlet is in that condition here today.
Okay, so a Robo going down here, this makes me think it might be Mass Gates up there? Or, oh, a Twilight going down. So she... I'd rather... Hurricane could be trying to sneak into something here, like a Glaives all in or Archon drop, something like that. This is definitely peculiar to have a probe out there that early to try to hide this.
Now, where that's hidden, and just judging from the scouting patterns here from Scarlet, she's not gonna scout that and find out that she's in the Twilight Zone. So
this will be a bad episode.
This will be the worst episode of the Twilight Zone ever, possibly. Dark Shrine. Okay.
Well, I mean, this is not a bad idea at all. Right now in Korea, there is like Classic and Stats both used a build that looks like this. Recently, where oh my god, this thing is going to scout it. This is crazy.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. Okay, so she just saw a pylon going down there. So what she could be thinking here is that it's like a 2 Adept drop into a later Archon drop off of a high Templar Archives. It's something that Stats and Classic have been messing with a little bit.
Yeah, this is definitely, even though she's gotten a decent amount of information here, she doesn't have the full picture, so this might look like it's something completely different.
This could be a hatchery kill for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I would say it's probably going to be.
Uh-oh. Well, you got to make sure that put the Warp Prism in there first of all. Okay. Now, there's Overlords everywhere, so it's not going to be any secret. Actually, Hurricane might have taken enough damage. It's going to be harder than it should have been to get in there.
Well, if he just kills the third base, warps in, because he has like 2 gates, right? So warp in 2 DTs, go right-click on the third, and it's dead. Oh,
no,
but
the
a
spores
spore.
are coming.
Yeah. Well, you can just go after drones as well.
Yeah, that's something, but I think that Hurricane didn't quite handle this rush as well as he could have. Okay, the DT's out here. Is there a spore in the main? No.
No, there is
not.
No,
there's no spore
There's
here.
only 1 spore being made, and it's at the third base. And okay,
the layer is not done yet. Here we go.
When you have a Dark Shrine before there's any detection out, you hope for a little bit more damage than what we're seeing here.
Okay,
Layer's about
good
to
blocking.
finish.
Good blocking. Spore is not going to get done in time.
Oh my god.
Next hit. That's it.
Wow, just barely so.
The mining's still being interrupted here for Scarlet. 1 DT comes in over here, but as long as the control from Scarlet is good, that DT is going to be driven out. Queen's now going down. The Overseer is finally here, but is then the DTs are then picked up and pulled back out.
15 drones.
Wow.
All right. It started off a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
But that was good. 15 drones, a ton of lost mining time.
Hurricane's now set up pretty nicely with his third base. He's getting Immortals. More gateways are coming down here. A follow-up timing attack could be devastating to Scarlet.
Infestation Pit on the way, so I wouldn't be surprised. When you see DTs, you know that there's going to be a decent amount of Archons out, so definitely you can use Swarm Hosts against that, especially on this map. It's the best Swarm Host map out there.
Okay. Blink is on the way here. This is, I don't know. I mean, you know, one thing about Hurricane is he's kind of known for being sneaky. That's why his PvP is really good. You got to be a pretty crafty player in PvP for the most part in order to be dominant in that matchup. You definitely have to be somebody who can.
If you
play a
aren't
lot of
willing to
different
take risks, then it can be hard. You have to be like quite a bit better than your opponent, I guess, you know?
Okay. Archon comes down now. But, of course, the Warp Prism with the Archon combo, you can juggle the Archon for a long time and really optimize damage. So we have the Swarm Host coming out like you were talking about, Artosis.
Yeah. And this just kind of does well against Immortals, Archons, Zealots, that type of thing. Swarm Hosts are very good against that. So as long as she has some Banelings, and in fact, even in the Overlord here to try to hit the sentries. So I really like that move by Scarlet. And as she gets out these Swarm Hosts, she should be able to push this army back.
But Protoss is interested in fighting right here, right now. Oh, wait, the Overlord's going by.
Yeah, I
this
think
Overlord's
she's just
actually
going
try to drop on the probes, but I think you're right. Probably to drop on the sentries would be a better play. This angling is just too good.
Throws down the force fields and the Archons walk immediately into him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a very good spread by Hurricane. This is going to be really hard for Scarlet to actually end up stopping.
The Lings are coming in here now. The Swarm Host running in with the rest of the army. I think that's just too much.
It might
I think
be.
Scarlet's basically out of this game. Again, it is still a best of 3, but this game was not handled that well by Scarlet, and I think this drop that won't even go off. Probably would have been better served there to hit those sentries.
Yeah, this was pretty sharp by Hurricane.
Then again, it wasn't really the handling of that final attack from Scarlet, but the handling of the DT attack early on that allowed that follow-up attack to win the game.
You're very right about that. 15 drones killed, a lot of lost mining time. It slowed everything down. Those swarm hosts were out a lot later. The Banelings were not morphed in time for that initial attack. It was just well done by Hurricane. And you know what's kind of really sad for Scarlet is she had a shift-queued Zergling that would have seen the Dark Shrine.
Yeah.
But she's actually too fast and decided that there was probably no other tech. She saw a pylon warping at the third and was like, oh, okay, you're expanding. And that was, I mean, that did everything.
She wasn't
for
set up properly to stop what was inbound.
Yeah.
Had she kept that wing on the scouting path and made absolutely sure against a sneaky player like Hurricane that she could see what was coming, it might have been a different outcome. But Hurricane's down up one game. Scarlet has to win this game and the next, or she's out of the GSL Code S. We're going to the map, Abyssal Reef, to see if she can make that comeback happen.
I'm running for the river. You can ride, you can fly, you can tell them that you tried, but there ain't no going back. They'll never catch me.
In the bottom right, in the blue, she is
Team expert, Scarlet.
in the upper left, in the red, he is
Hurricane.
something kind of funny. And I'm basing this only off of Scarlet's GSL games, but what we've seen with Scarlet in the GSL is kind of an interesting a player who also has two funny problems that have been presented repeatedly. Problem one, which is not uncommon for a lot of players, is that they get tricked or slowed down early on and can't recover. But the other funny problem for Scarlet is that if she's not slowed down, she gets into really good shape, even ahead of players like Innovation, but can't maintain the lead. We don't really have any other players that have this.
maintaining the lead, and what I've noticed, because we've seen it, like for instance, maybe it was a couple seasons ago or something, didn't she do like a massive roach attack up a ramp that made her lose?
I believe so,
and that was on like Habitation Station a while back. And then like in the Proxima game against Innovation, and even in the Newkirk game against Innovation, when she gets way ahead, she wants to kill you.
Right.
She really wants to end the game at that point. Just it's like as if like, hey, I outdid you, die now. And but these players refuse to die. So yeah, I agree with you on this assessment. This is definitely something that continually is haunting her.
It's interesting as well because I think it's usually easier to fix somebody who tends to get ahead but then ends up throwing the game because they either got impatient or misread the situation. That might sound strange to a lot of the people that are watching that maybe haven't played a competitive StarCraft match or aren't familiar with competitive StarCraft, where you think, how could you throw away a lead? Because it's really easy to do if you don't have enough experience with it, because obviously the players can't see what we see, right? We're seeing everything. And so we know what they're missing, and for the player who's in the game when they get a lead, there can be occasionally ambiguity. And especially depending on who you've practiced against, whether it's on ladder or with specific training partners, you might end up in situations where you say, okay, this is the closer. I got the lead, and then this is what I got to do to close it. And then when you play against somebody, let's say of Innovation's level, or maybe Hurricane's level, it does not turn out to be the case. By the way, Hurricane is doing a fantastic job with denying. This is such a well-timed out.
That adept was perfect.
Yeah.
Jeez, and that could tilt her a little bit here as well.
Yeah,
Let's not forget that.
Well, it's going in back to problem one that we were talking about with Scarlet, which is that a lot of times people can trip her up early on, and then she just isn't able to get into that ideal sweet spot where she's able to then have that macro engine set up. She can produce. She can do the timing attack she wants to do. She can drop. She can harass. No, too late, because a player like Hurricane in Game 1 has slowed you down or duped you. And in Game 2, it's just slowed you down. The pylon stopped the first the first third base that could have been set up. The adept stopped the second. And now the tempo advantage is already going to Hurricane.
Yeah. And the thing is, that definitely can throw players off. Scarlet has been emotional from time to time. Definitely, we've seen that. Hopefully she can kind of pull it together here and at least bring it to a game number 3. But Hurricane, this is funny because we were kind of talking about him and how he's not been able to quite pull it together.
That's right.
Because he's a very good player. He's been a very good player for a long time.
And that's not just us saying that. That's a lot of other pro gamers will say that in practice or online, Hurricane's actually one of the toughest players to beat. It's just whenever he seems to be in a match, in a studio, with people there, physically watching him in person, it's a different beast, and he hasn't quite gotten to that comfort zone yet.
And, sometimes he'll win a match or two or something like that, but maybe not playing up to what he should be expecting of himself over the course of his practicing career. But looking at the game and where it's at right now, nothing too crazy going on. And Oracle is out just kind of playing defense for this third base. It's not that quick overall, but Scarlet got slowed down slightly. Just getting that +1 melee for the Lings. Quite a few Lings being made.
Yeah, well, I think Scarlett's taken the situation and identified that maybe she's not in a great place. So it might be time to do something a little bit dramatic here. Did that actually go off?
I don't think so.
Trap
I think
off?
she got it.
Okay, good shutdown there by Scarlett. So Scarlett has just made a lot of Lings, and they are out, and the Baneling's nest is a little bit under halfway done. Let's see if these Lings go out and set up to maybe try to deny the third, because drones are being made now.
I feel like she's missing a window to do that. She's defending well against anything coming in, like the 2 Adepts that flew in. She's stopping the stasis wards, so that's all good stuff. But if she even moves out now, there should be enough for Hurricane. There's like these very small windows where you can deny third bases for Protoss, and then everything's just kind of set up. There's 2 pylons, a mothership core, and a couple units. You're not breaking that with just Lings.
Never with just Lings.
Yeah.
It's way too easy for the Protoss to hold that. I think you are right. She might have missed that timing. She may have never intended to do that, but it did look like when you got enough Lings like that, and there was a third being made, there would have been the idea of that.
Well, the layer's going to be finishing up here, and with good time, she can definitely throw down the Hydralisk Den and get into that just very fearsome Hydra Bane. Looks like the way Hurricane wants to deal with that this game is by making quite a few sentries. And obviously Force Fields are very useful, as is Guardian Shield. So we'll see if he can hold on against whatever Scarlet has to throw at him.
Okay. We have...
I love it. I love it. Okay, so second Robo and Colossus Tech with a bunch of sentries. This is definitely a way where you 100% of the time will hold on against Lingbane Hydra. Ooh, but look at this. She's actually mixing up a bit with these Drop Lords. If she kills all of these sentries... Ooh, just barely. But, okay, so anyways, if you make a bunch of sentries and go into 2 Robo Colossus, you will always hold against the Hydra Bane, but then you kind of are in this funny place because they can do things like throw down a Spire, which that is not going to be nearly as... You have, Colossus and sentries against Mutas or Corruptors or something?
It seems like it could potentially be a hard counter for that initial thing that a lot of Protosses have a hard time with, but it doesn't get you out of the game yet.
Yeah.
It's not about surviving, it's about having the army to then take them out. So we might have a longer game here. We'll have to see how Sasha responds to this.
Now, you can try to hit timing attacks with what Hurricane is doing. On this map, I'm not sure if a timing attack is going to be able to finish anything, and considering that we see a Twilight going up, I'm not sure that that's even what we're really going to see. It seems like it's just kind of a macro game coming out of Hurricane.
Okay, once again, War Prism's going to fly through. Right now, Hurricane looking for any openings, any vulnerabilities here to try to punish Scarlet for. And the Banelings are coming down here now. I don't know. What? Okay, I'm assuming that some damage was dealt there, probably by another Overlord drop. Maybe some Banelings connected there.
I'm not sure.
We don't know the full story with that. We just got to see an expansion. There was nothing mining from there. Did those Banelings actually connect on the sentries at the third?
I don't think so. I think she...
No, I don't. No, they're up there. They're up there.
Yeah, there's at least a few of them left over.
Okay. Well, this may have been a little bit wasteful here by Scarlet to send those Lings in.
She gets the Oracle during all this, so going to be a little bit harder to get all that scouting intel done. Still Hurricane harassing a little bit with just a couple Zealots. 4 more Drop Overlords on the way.
Wow.
That's interesting. I like it.
Well, while this is all going on, Scarlet's now taking a 5th base up here. And I guess Scarlet has the liberty to do that at this point in time when you consider the fact that Protoss has really doubled down on defense, wanting to survive Hydra Baneling, but of course not able to then, at least yet, segue that into some kind of a killing blow. But there are more Stalkers being made. Disruptors are coming into play. It's definitely becoming a much beefier Protoss army that has
Yeah.
enough complexity it can start to deal with all sorts of different types of Zerg engagements.
But there's like 6 drop overlords, I want to say, and a Spire about to finish. So this, like, very weird styles coming out of both sides here. Now, can Hurricane get something done with this army? Blink is finishing up just now. There's a lot of force fields out, clearing all this creep as well.
Okay, about 30 Hydras here. A lot of Banes being morphed.
Dude, 7 drop lords.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if the Zerg is going to be able to get those to drop, maybe on top of the Stalkers in a kind of interesting hit, or maybe connect on those sentries. But on this map specifically, Hydra's going to have a hard time against force fields and Colossi because they just get isolated.
Look at this targeting down.
Whoa.
Though. Oh my god, targeting down so quickly. 2 of them get picked off immediately. The rest starting to drop these Banes, and a big flank coming out from Scarlet as well. Lots of force fields going down, but Hurricane getting trapped back here.
All right, Scarlet's continuing to close in, but this damage here from the Colossus is just too good. And especially with the Colossus escaping like this, all 3 are still able to do so much damage. Now, I don't know if Hurricane can push any further here, but definitely Scarlet lost a lot of units back there.
Yeah, and, there definitely some stuff was lost for Hurricane, but overall he dealt with that really well, especially when he got into that corner, blinking down, using the Colossus to walk down the cliff as well, even saving 2 sentries. So still looking pretty strong here. Now, Scarlet does have a Spire. A couple Corruptors being made, and since 2 more Colossus are on the way, that's definitely going to be useful. Oh no, she cancels, I guess.
Okay, the Stalker's edge back. Right now, you can see Hurricane deliberating how much further does he want to push in here. An overextension could cost him the game. This hatchery's, of course, softened up, but until it's eliminated, once Scarlet drives Hurricane back off of her territory, she can then begin to mine there. Now, having the additional Colossus with this as well as sentries is going to give a lot more momentum to the Protoss trying to poke in here and attack. I'm getting a little bit worried for Scarlet here, Artosis.
Yeah, this is a lot of Colossi, and these units are not really that high of health. Look at this, 5 Colossi. There's not actually a counter to that here. The drop overlords can be, like, useful, but this is going to be hard. 5 sentries in there as well.
Okay.
This is some old school looking Protoss army right here.
Yeah, no kidding. This angle, though, does not allow for an easy escape here for Protoss if the Zerg can get the engage to work correctly.
Oh my god, these force fields, though,
Wow.
are just brilliant, stopping everything dead in his tracks. A few of these sentries getting taken out there by the Banelings. Some damage on the Colossus as well, but mostly just shield damage.
Okay. Hurricane still in pursuit. I think this army comp might be better than what Scarlet has, especially after taking out those Hydras. Big blow to the investment that Scarlet had to her army. Once again, the hatchery that's never fully regained its HP may be picked off in this critical moment.
Down it will go, which means 4 base versus 4 base. Very tough place here for Scarlet, who has not teched up at all from here. She's had a Spire this entire time, hasn't really been utilizing that. Probably just because there are so many Blink Stalkers. But finally a couple Corruptors started.
Okay. Hydra Bane is set up here once again. Is it enough, though? Remember, on this map, these really narrow areas you're trying to engage in always favor Force Field and Colossus. It's not even that hard for the Protoss to do.
No.
And with Stalkers and Blink, you can pretty much guarantee that any kind of finesse play coming from the Zerg where you're trying to drop, for instance, Banelings on the sentries, as long as the Protoss is taking care of his army, he will gun that down.
Yeah, like that's the number one thing. If you're getting 7 overlords of Banelings dropped on your army, it does not matter what is in your army, it's dead. So that is the one micro move that Hurricane has to do, set up some force fields and target those down.
Now, another story we haven't really pointed out here is that although Scarlet's holding this off, Hurricane's continuing to expand to the point where Hurricane is going to be up in bases compared to Scarlet, who has just started remaking that hatchery over there at that 5th base.
And adding in charge lots as well as Archons, this just like rounds out the composition so ridiculously well. Even if you kill all the Colossus with Corruptors, Corruptors are the worst unit in the game against Zealot Archon, you know?
Okay, looks like Zerg's waiting for an engagement. This engage not going well. The rest of the Zerg army is not up there just yet. Here come the Banelings and the Overlords.
Yeah, will they be able to actually drop on top of everything here? A huge amount of surface area for Scarlet.
Actually, yeah.
Quite a bit hitting, but these Colossi being microed very well here against the Hydras.
Well,
they continue to push
If
forward.
it's just Hydras in this situation, they're always going to lose against Stalker Colossus. And in fact, supplies for both sides being shot down here, but I think the sophistication of the army goes a little bit more towards Hurricane. Hurricane can now try to edge in here. Now, if Hurricane overextends and loses that clump of Colossi, then the game resets in a funny way.
Yeah, definitely he still needs that around. We don't have Psystorm yet, so if you don't have splash damage against Lingbane Hydra, you are going to lose to it no matter what part of the game you're in. The Colossi is still very, very important. Scarlet has retaken the 5th base, but Hurricane's 5th has been up for a bit. So, I mean, he's just there hasn't really been any pressure on him for quite some time now.
Okay, Hurricane's still setting up.
Getting
Now-
into Psystorm now, too. I really like that call.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like-
well, having the Archons with this as well, with the Zealots. You know, Zealot Archon is the easiest thing to make right away. They can kind of complement and fight everything.
Yeah.
Zealots soak all the damage and get in the way of stuff, and Archons deal all the damage.
Well, at this point, if Psystorm finishes, like, this army is becoming massive for Hurricane. It's just really good. It's got all the pieces that he wants. He's making some Immortals now.
Yeah, especially with those Immortals, you can see how comfortable the Protoss is with the tech that he has.
Yeah, the composition of Scarlet's is very strong, but, you know, I feel like it's just she's traded too inefficiently too many times against the Colossus Ball.
We see Protoss now erring on the side of caution because Protoss is finally in the phase of the game that Protoss was trying to get to this entire time. To get that complete tech tree, to have Colossi, to have enough sentries, the Archons, having Templars here with Storm, and all of that backed up with Stalkers that can blink away or blink forward depending on the right situation.
As Storm finishes, the what is it called? The bell toll rings or whatever. It's like that the clock hits midnight, okay? Scarlet's army is a pumpkin.
You might be right.
The Psystorm is just going to shred this. 5 Archons, 3
And-
Colossus, and Psystorm.
Warp
Oh.
Prism to back it up so that reinforcements can easily group up with this army. Oh my god!
Sick flanks incoming. Oh, those Psystorms are just ridiculous.
Whoa, okay, so the Banelings from behind there were taken out. That's going to be it. GG. Scarlet is out, and Hurricane moves on to the losers match, or the final match.
That's right.
The Purgatory match.
Well done by Hurricane. You know, going into that Colossus type play, it felt like, you know, Scarlet stayed on Lingbane Hydra for a very long time against that. Never really transitioned out, but Hurricane kept that pressure on and made her continually make units and traded well against them. Unfortunately for Scarlet, despite being in ridiculously awesome shape and trying really hard for this season, unable to make the round of 16 for the 3rd time in a row.
Just not quite consistent enough, it seems like. She's showing us some of the craziest, scariest games, but then some games where she's just not able to get all the building blocks in the right spot
Yeah.
to then close out that game with a victory. I got to say, Hurricane prepared very well for this.
He did. He did.
And,
Those were some solid builds that he used.
Let's not forget the opening there, denying the 3rd hatch in 2 different locations at once.
We saw multiple times him hitting, you know, the Adept coming in and slowing that down, then a couple of Adepts. And
We'll be right back with our final match, Young versus Hurricane, after this short commercial break.